welcome to the show, everybody. Next up, we got an esteemed comedian making a return appearance here at Sexy Rex and Friends. Yeah, my lovely brother, Mr. Ryan Murray.
Yeah, Ryan Murray. Hey, everybody. I'm here. I'm nice and clean for you. Well,
thanks for that.
not just for you. It's for me, too. Because personal hygiene is very important to me. I mean, I let it slip sometimes. Everybody does. But you've got to forgive those kind of things, because it does happen to everybody. Like when you see a person who's normally presentable, they look like a sick pigeon, you got to kind of forgive them, because, you know, it could happen to anybody. Sometimes you just don't have time, but I never forgive bad breath. You just can't forgive bad breath. You see, I'm guilty of, you know, maybe stinking a little sometimes, but it's different. You know, my hair is greasy, sure, my pits are sweaty, I'm wearing the same long johns for a week and a half and like sleeping in them. My hands smell like penis. I'm sure you understand why. But here's the thing about those things. I don't smell my sweaty pits unless I go reach for, like, you know, something on a high shelf. And I don't walk around sniffing my balls, certainly. And unless I crave the smell of penis, I don't smell my hands. Really, only people, even people who really like penis, don't like smelly penis. That's a pretty general rule. And as opposed to all those things, my breath is air that comes out of a hole in my face that's directly beneath my nose. So, you know, I pick up on it. And when some people are like, oh no, you can't say that to someone. You can't say that. It's rude. It's rude. They might not know. It's like, buddy, do you understand how air works? Yeah, they know. They know that they stink. And they're stinking on purpose, and they're jerks. Now, admittedly, there was one time that I stank on purpose to be considerate. It doesn't happen very often, but it did happen in this particular occasion. I was working at a call center. And this was in New Brunswick. I had a long walk to work. It was the summertime. It was really nice though, so I didn't mind the long walk. It was like an hour and a half through the woods. And in the woods I could kind of do what I wanted to, which was mostly like smoke weed and sing Prince songs. I liked the Prince because the falsetto seemed to attract wildlife. So, you know, I'd have like raccoons and beavers and hummingbirds and stuff, and sometimes I'd see a woodchuck. If I was really high, that would fuck me up. They're like, is that a Beaversquirrel? Anyway, by the time I get to work, I'm really sweaty. So I go to the bathroom and kind of spritz myself off in the sink and throw on some deodorant. And then I go do my job. And I have to be really careful at this place because it's very corporate. And I don't necessarily flourish in a corporate environment, per se. So I'm kind of walking around like I got the Gestapo Illuminati over my shoulders at all times, just like, don't say fuck, don't say fuck, don't say fuck, don't say fuck, don't say fuck. Hey, buddy, how the fork you doing? That worked all right. I kind of got by. But there was this one creepy lady who sat like 3 cubicles down from me, and I say she was creepy because she had like all these bottles of hand sanitizer and the antibacterial wipes, like all the pills and vitamins. A little poster of the kitten that says, "You can do it." It's like, no, you can't. You wouldn't need all this shit if you could. And then one day, I come into work. She's been giving me dirty looks for a while, and I don't really know what it's about. And she's like, you have been wearing perfume, and that is against regulations. I'm like, no, man, it's just deodorant. And she says, no, it is perfume. I smell it. She doesn't actually talk like that. It's just part of the story. And I said, well, how about I stop wearing the perfume or whatever, how about that? And then she started bleeding out of her eyes, her head spun around, she puked everywhere, so I figured she liked that. So I stopped wearing the perfume. A couple days go by, and my supervisor came over to my desk and says, Ryan, can you come with me? Because we need to talk. I'm like, okay. I thought that was weird, because, you know, if you get fired from a place like this, they don't stand up to fire you, you come to their desk. So I'm being walked down this long corridor, I kind of really don't know where I'm going. And it's late, it's the middle of the night because I worked at graveyard shifts because I didn't do well at my job or try hard or anything. And we're walking past all these dark, empty offices and conference rooms. And I'm kind of like, I don't even know where we are in the building anymore. And the floor is far away. Like, what are we doing? My supervisor brings me into the conference room, switches on the light, kind of sits me down. He goes like this for a while. Then he looks at his crotch. Then he looks up and he says, Ryan, and he looks at his crotch again. He says, Ryan, this is the hardest thing I have ever had to do as a supervisor. And I'm really worried because he just looked at his crotch twice. And the sound of human ears are far from my screams right now. And he says, Ryan, there's been an issue about the smell. And I'm like, oh, the smell. I know the smell. I know it well. I stink like hell right now. And then I started telling him why. I said, this crazy lady. And he's like, oh, her. He was so relieved. He was like, I know her. Don't worry about her. He says, you know, if she comes and complains to me, it's not going to be a big deal. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. You can wear deodorant. You wear all the deodorant you feel like you need. And I was like, cool. And it actually was pretty cool because then they paid for me on the clock to take a cab ride home, take a shower, take another cab ride back to work.
Nice.
Yeah. I didn't come back to work right away. And I'm sure you understand why. So I get back to work, I'm smelling pretty nice and fresh. My hands smell like penis, but whatever. And I'm starting to think, I think I've picked up on a weakness here. Something obviously makes them uncomfortable. So I found a way to use this against them. So I started eating a lot of beans. And I don't mean like nice organic beans. I mean like nasty canned pork and beans. And pretty soon I had a whole row of cubicles to myself and no one complained. Because they were uncomfortable by BO, but they would not talk to me about farts. They would not discuss farts. And this is actually one of the things about farts that kind of bother me. Because it's like, you know, if you're hanging with your bros or whatever, someone will always say something about it. Sure, great. That's a normal reaction, is to react to a fart. But when I'm in kind of a more like business type scenario, and I mean, you know, if it's little, then obviously it's not polite to point it out or make a big deal out of every fart. But sometimes it's, you know, it kind of demands comment. You know, if something happens and it smells like you just opened the Pharaoh's tomb and it screams like a dying sun, and then someone walks up to me and says, "Hey buddy, how was your weekend?" "I went fishing." He's like, dude, are we on the same planet? Did you hear that? Seriously? That's the next thing out of your mouth. Okay. Fine. It's weird behavior. That is really weird behavior. Like imagine an alien comes down to Earth and meets with the ambassador of Earth. The ambassador of Earth is explaining things. He's like, buddy, Earth is great. We've got buildings, we got machines that fly through the air, we got lasers and pepperoni and statues of all our like most ass-kicking ancestors. And even now we're more into communication, kind of. We have like these devices that we keep in our pockets that let us like transmute images and text and music and videos to each other like all over the world, anything. Alien's like, yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. And he says, we got this other thing too. It's kind of like, we call it the internet. It's like our well of knowledge, kind of everything we know. From the most trivial to the most important, it's all there. And you know, you can find pretty much whatever you want. Like, you want to know about the mating habits of centipedes, or the chemical composition of various organic compounds, or what some ancient Greek philosopher thought about eternity, or what some high school dropout thought about Twilight. It's all there. You can learn the periodic table of elements or dance moves on YouTube. And the alien's like, damn. Can you look at kitties? The ambassador says, oh, we got kitties. There's lots of kitties. And then he goes on, maybe a little too much. And he says, there's people having sex on there too, and you know, like there's normal stuff, every combination really you can imagine, every position of different people and different, but some of it, he's like, some of it's nasty. He says, you know, you have people like puking and shitting on each other, and every form of degrading, abuse, shame, and nastiness, some involving wildlife, every form of orifice and penetration by every object and body part that you could possibly imagine. And he's like, wildlife? And the ambassador says, dude, everything. And at that key moment, the ambassador farts. The alien says, whoa, what was that? Someone leans over and says, no! We don't talk about that! It's rude! And the alien goes, your hand smells like penis. And I think I understand why. Alright, thanks guys.